Thank you to Squarespace for being today's video sponsor. Sometimes you end up buying things because everybody's doing it, you know, and they're gorgeous, they're so pretty. So, in fact, do you want a sneak peek? Okay, let me give you a sneak peek. Oh man, I'm getting like on the soapbox again. Hello and welcome to the House of Valentina. I'm Valentina, and today we're gonna be talking about things that I have stopped buying. And I wanted to chat with you about some of these things because every single one of these items has been a learning experience for me. I would love to be able to pass forward that to you so that I can save you a lot of heartache and hopefully a lot of money. So today I'm gonna be telling you why I've stopped buying certain things and what I do instead, because I don't necessarily buy more, sometimes I buy less, and I'll explain all of that as we go. I hope that you'll love this video and give it a big thumbs up, and also make sure you hit subscribe because we are a breath away from hitting 300,000 subscribers. That is such a big moment, and I'm so excited to have each and every one of you as our first 300,000 subscribers. Wow, that's amazing. So thank you so much for being a part of our House of Valentina community, and now let's jump into some of these things that I've stopped buying, and I think maybe you should as well. But you can let me know down in the comments what you think. Let's jump in. The first thing that I have stopped buying is seasonal themed decor. Okay, maybe not all seasonal themed decor, but it is a huge thing that I have really stopped doing. And I know that a lot of you are super attached to having pumpkins and candy corns and all that kind of stuff in the fall, and then when Christmas comes, having super themed items like Santas and candy canes and then Valentine's and all the different holidays. I know that I think it's an especially American thing, if I am allowed to say that. I don't know, is that super controversial? You guys let me know down in the comments if this is something that you do and you love it and there's no way you're giving it up. You let me know. But it's something that I have stopped doing. Instead of buying lots of themed decor, I've started to really realize that what I really like in my own home is when my home segues with the seasons through fabrics, through maybe the types of pillows that I'm using, the blankets that I have out on my sofa, the curtains that I might hang. In summer and spring, I love to have linen pillows, linen curtains, maybe even just take the curtains off. And then the minute that fall even gets close, I start getting super giddy because I'm like, okay, we're gonna have more leather, we're gonna have more wool, we're gonna have more velvet, and I just get so excited over it. Same with my foliage in my vases. Instead of going and buying all new stuff for my coffee table for a new season, I use almost all of the exact same stuff, except I switch out what's in the vases. So right now we're still very summery and lots of greens, but then when it gets closer to fall, we'll have some more fall foliage, some things that are dry. Winter will come and it's gonna be so much fun to have cypress and evergreens. And I find that this way of decorating, for me at least, feels more connected to nature. And I'm looking outside and it's so green outside right now. And I think in that sort of way, it's a very natural way of being connected to nature and really embracing the idea of bringing nature inside, and how can we decorate in a way that's more natural to the way in which the ebb and flow of life kind of comes and goes. I know that got really deep. But it really is true, and it really does change the way that it has for me. I can say from personal experience that it changes the way that I feel in my home, and I feel really connected to the seasons and the environment, and I just love it. I wanted to take just a moment and thank Squarespace for being our video sponsor for today. You guys know we absolutely love Squarespace. It's an ideal place to be able to launch your online home. We think that it's so important, of course, to have a beautiful home and a space that feels like you, and so why not have that space online? I think it's so important nowadays, and having your presence online, it can be a portfolio, it can be a business. I think that being able to design that space and make it your own is really important. However you want to use it, they make it so easy. They've got great templates, they've got great self-help sections, you've got all the tools if you want to use it as a business for marketing and to be able to sell and have a shop. It's amazing, and we've absolutely loved having Squarespace for our own website. It's incredible. So head to squarespace.com/House of Valentina to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain using code House of Valentina. I will leave all the details down below so that you can check that out, and thank you again to Squarespace for being our video sponsor. The next thing that I have stopped buying, which is a really, really big deal for me, is that I have stopped buying small art. Little tiny art prints. I used to love buying small things, just in general. I just like tiny little things. Somehow things are just cuter when they're smaller. And I really love small things. But instead now I buy small things, you know, like new earrings or a pretty ring. Certain things just look amazing when they're small. But when it comes to art, typically art doesn't look as good when it comes in a small form. I really have just over the years, slowly but surely, just really gotten to where I don't buy small art at all. I never buy small tiny prints because I really just don't like the way that it just clutters a room. I feel like it's just visually just too busy. And I really like something that feels a little bit more pared back. I like it to feel sophisticated and elegant. And if you want those things in your home as well, I would tell you that one of the biggest things that you should stop buying is small art, because it really just makes the whole space just feel very busy. There's a lot to look at. Now, if you don't have the budget for really big art, because that's something that all of us struggle with, once we decide, okay, I should stop buying these little tiny pieces that just really clutter a space, then if I need something that's really big, how am I gonna afford that? Well, I've shared a lot on my Amazon storefront, on my Amazon Lives. I really have found some great pieces on Amazon. If you don't wanna do DIY artwork, there's some great options out there. I have some great hacks where you can even take one smaller piece. Maybe you've got something like a 16 by 20 or something that's just a little bit bigger. Maybe you have a really big wall to fill. You can put two prints together, or if you have an even bigger wall, maybe think about putting 4 pieces or 6 pieces all together if you've got a really big space to fill. But either way, putting them nice and tight together and making them appear as one piece will make it feel like it's just really grand, it's really elegant, it really just elevates the entire look, rather than having a wall that's just full of, you know, a bazillion little mini art pieces. So I think then it also really makes it to where you really see the art itself. And the art, I think, just really becomes such a big voice in your space. And so even though bigger art does seem that it's gonna cost you a lot more money, once you add up all the little ones, I really don't think so. And I think also it keeps you from buying a lot of other stuff, and so you don't need as much for the room when you've invested that money into the art, because it's so powerful. One of the other things that, this one was really hard for me, but one of the things that I have stopped buying is trendy decor. And I love to walk into Target and to get an impulse buy while I'm standing there buying, you know, milk for the week. There's something about going through the home section and grabbing something. And what I realized is that, first of all, sometimes you can get some great stuff at Target that really is great and long lasting. So definitely don't worry, you'll see more Target here on the House of Valentina, because I still love it. But what I realized was that a lot of times I was grabbing trendier stuff that just grabbed my attention, rather than really thinking through, is this something that I will keep for the next 5 years? Is it something I'll keep for 10 years? Is it something I'll keep for the rest of my life? So when I started to apply those questions to what I was buying, I found that I stopped buying a lot of the trendy decor that was just really kind of here, and it felt seasonal almost. It was like too quick. I'm really on the hunt for things that I will want to keep for a long time. And so I've been able to really shift my mindset about what I'm buying. And this way now, when I buy a beautiful vase, I'm gonna use that all year long. I've had these now for about 2 years, and I hope that I'll have them forever. And I have a lot more things like that. I'm really starting to realize that I can build a collection, and I can build my home with a collection of items One thing that I've stopped buying, and I can't remember if I've mentioned this before or not, so you have to forgive me if I've mentioned it, but I've stopped buying curtains with rings. And this was a big deal for me because the other day I went to buy velvet curtains, and my go-to velvet curtain for years has been the Sanela curtains that they sell at IKEA. I love them. But I realized the other day, oh no, they had the big rings on the top of them. And so just like that, those are just not gonna be an option for me. I just don't like the way that they look. I feel that they really downgrade a space. And so instead, what I've started to do is I will look for ones that have the hidden pull on the back side of them. I even will use the little clips at times, but I really want something that's gonna give me a very full pleated kind of look on my windows. And so I've started to just skip the ones with the rings. I did, however, find some really beautiful velvet curtains, and I've ordered them for 2 of the rooms in my house, and they're gorgeous. They're so pretty. So, in fact, do you want a sneak peek? Okay, let me give you a sneak peek. Okay, I know I'm being a little bit naughty to give you a sneak peek, but I just have to. I got these, and these are in the light taupe color, and they are breathtaking. Now, I've got them also in the cream color. What I did is I ordered actually 3 different kinds of velvet curtains because I really wanted to really nail this one, okay? So I don't want to have to buy them again. And so I ordered these that are in the, I think they're calling them ivory. Let's see, I'll make sure to leave it down below what color these are, but I think these were like the ivory or the cream. And when I saw them and they were so beautiful, I went and ordered more for the rest of the rooms that I wanted to put them into. But these do not have the rings on the top. This is something that I know I will pull out literally every single year. I've bought them in a staple color, and I've really avoided the idea of something that's overly trendy. I'm sure that if I went online, I could find some great patterns and there's some great stuff out there, but I really want something that's gonna last me. And so I think I found that even on a budget. One of the things that I have stopped doing, and I am the worst about this. I am the worst. I don't know where I picked up this habit, but it is the worst habit, and that is the one-off. The one-off habit. I have had that habit just for so many years, and I realize it really irritates me about myself because I don't like the way that it ends up looking in the long run. So instead of buying one pillow, I know I'm gonna buy a set of pillows. If I'm gonna buy one pillow for the bed, it doesn't do me a lot of good. I really need either a set of 2 if it's gonna be on the king bed and there's room for just 2, or a set. I need to have a set of the pillows. I need to have a set of towels. I don't wanna open my drawer and see 30 different washcloth options. I don't want to open my cabinet and have 90 different jars with all of my food in it. I want things to be a little bit more thought out. So another thing that I always did was I'd buy one coffee mug, and this is gonna be the one that I'm allowed. But then I can't set the table if I have one of these. And if I wanna set a nice table, I need a set. And so this was something that I had to stop doing. I would buy one plate from a pretty set that I would see. I'd buy one pillow, one piece of art, and just think, I'll figure out where it's gonna go later. And I've stopped doing that. You end up with just a mismatch, just hodgepodge of items, and then the room, it really just doesn't come together. Now, it doesn't mean that if you have purchased a one-off item that you can't then incorporate it into your home, so don't panic. But you have to stop doing it because it's gonna be a lot harder to, I'm assuming that you want a style like mine since you're hanging out with me here at House of Valentina, but I have found that if you have the sofa full of all different types of pillows, it's just too busy. It's just too much. And even if you have 3 or 4 that don't really go together, it's just too much. I really prefer something that's a little bit more pared back and it's more cohesive feeling. And so I'd rather have a couple, maybe 2 types of pillows that are on the sofa, maybe 3, but they all need to be in the same color palette rather than just one-offs. So if you have a one-off, one of the things that you can do is you can put it, like let's say you have a one-off pillow. You can pair it with two pillows that are the same or very similar, and then the one-off. But it's gonna be a lot harder if you're trying to do a big sofa, because then you just have this one random pillow that doesn't really go with anything else. So the best spot for it might be maybe in a chair. That way you only need one. And if you did a one-off plate, I have a little stack of some of the one-off things that I've bought, and I went through my entire pantry and all of my dishware and all of my glasses, and I decided which ones were really, really special to me, and I made a little stack of those plates. I don't have any glassware that's a one-off at this point other than my coffee mugs. And then what I started to do is I started to buy things in sets, and maybe I'll just give you a tour sometime soon of the kitchen. We haven't done that in so long. I was organizing my pantry over the weekend and I was like, oh, it's like pantry porn in here. It's so good. It looks so nice and neat. So, but this is what comes from buying sets of things instead of having hodgepodgey everything, just one-offs, one off here, one off there. Another thing that I have stopped buying is small books. And I know I've talked about this before, and I get on my soapbox about this, but I just have absolutely stopped buying small books. Instead, what I do is I buy big books. I don't buy little paperback books and use them as decor anymore. I've stopped doing that completely. I literally do not have any little paperback colorful books. I don't have any of that sitting out. I used to decorate with them all the time, and I know that my daughter is an avid reader. I shared her Instagram with you guys a couple weeks ago, and I know a lot of you went over and followed her Instagram, and she is an avid book reader, and she has her shelf with hers, but that's the only place in the house I just tuck them away. If they're a small book, like I have James Bond Casino Royale. I was reading that while we were in Mexico. I tuck that into the drawer. I don't use it as decor anymore. So it's not that I don't buy small books. It's that I don't use them as decor. That's really more a fair way of saying that. So I instead buy nice big books that I can use as decor and as inspiration. And so I've got a massive collection of books, and I'll leave a few of my favorites down below, but I think that they really do take you so much further when you buy a nice big book. Right now, I only have I have 4 books sitting out on my coffee table, and I can create a much more elevated and sophisticated look with less items. And so I don't know that it really costs you more money in the long run. I think in a lot of ways it actually saves you money. It feels a little bit painful when the one item costs more, but when you add it all up, I think it ends up saving you money to just have a few nice things that you really enjoy. And like the Manolo Blahnik book is one that's a fashion book, and it's one that I just really enjoy, and I get a lot of inspiration from the color palette. But the Architectural Digest, Joseph Duran, these are ones that I've mentioned over and over. And the reason I mention these books over and over is because they become staples in my home. And so you can see how I've transitioned the house to lots of things constantly changing, to where it's like these pillar items. If you have these items, you can make a room look incredible with just a few of them. And that's a really powerful thing and a big change for me. And that's why maybe you guys feel like this change already happened and you're like, I thought we were already here. But for me, it's a constant, it's a constant reminder to myself, I don't need to buy all those things. I need to buy the bigger books, be happy with these, have a great collection of them, and then tuck the little stuff away. The other thing that I have stopped buying, and you guys I always feel like you may not, if you follow me and you see the hauls that I do, you may be like, no, I don't think this is true. I have actually stopped buying lots and lots and lots of stuff. And I've kind of alluded to it all along the way here today, but I have stopped buying a million things for a room. I really realized that, and we were talking about this just maybe a week or so ago when we were talking about the minimal style and how to have an elevated minimal style, that you don't actually need a lot of stuff for the room. It goes back to the books. It goes back to the vases. I don't need a lot of stuff to finish a room. So I know if you watch my hauls, it looks like I buy a ton of stuff, and that's because I'm working on projects for my own home. I'm working on projects usually for other people, and I have needs that I need to have things to be able to finish their projects. But I've stopped buying. When I first started designing spaces, I thought I needed, I don't know, 50, 100 decor items to finish a room. And so when we would pack to go to finish a job, I would have just hundreds and hundreds of accessories. And now I've realized I don't need all that stuff. I need some really great big books. I need some big, beautiful vases. I need a few key decor items, maybe a bust or a sculpture. I need some great lighting. And my room is complete. At least it's complete the way I want it. This is the way I want my rooms to feel. I want them to have a very luxurious, minimal style. And so I don't need 100 items to finish a room. One of the things that I have stopped buying, and I don't think I will ever buy again, are fake books. I just don't like them. I never really did, and I think that sometimes you end up buying things because everybody's doing it, you know? Trendy items, you see people, they're at Home Goods and stuff. Like, I get it, I get the point of it, but I just really love the feel of a real book. I love the linen cover. I love the fact that it has a real title. I love that it has real content. It has real things inside of it that can inspire me and teach me something. And so I think that our books should say something about us. They should say something about the things that matter to us. They should have images that inspire us, that make us want to sit down and enjoy them. And I think that books should be this. So I know that, you know, a lot of people moved on to just digital books, and a lot of people aren't even buying books at all. So that's like a whole other argument, isn't it? I love books. I love the feel of them. I love how tactile the covers are, the way that the paper smells. I just love books. And so that's why I don't buy the digital books usually. But what I really do think that's really important is having a beautiful book that sits out and really inspires you to want to pick it up. And it's beautiful to look at and beautiful to peruse. And I just think, why would you want a fake book? I don't know. No, let's not do fake books. Let's just skip those altogether. That's just a few items that I've stopped buying. I'm sure there's more, but those are definitely the key ones that I've just realized as I'm going through my home and really setting this stage. I've been taking a lot of stuff out and really just giving myself a more minimal look over these last few weeks, and I just feel freer. And I feel calmer, and I feel happier in my own home. And I feel more in touch with my actual personal style than I ever have before. And I know that a lot of things, you know, that can be a lot of fun, but personally, I just really like this aesthetic and I feel more at home in it. And so that's why I wanted to share this, because ultimately, what we're really about is empowering you to create a home that you love and that you can't wait to wake up to, that energizes you, relaxes you. It's the backdrop to all your celebrations. It's the place that you're allowed to be sad in. You're allowed to be yourself in, and that is so important. Home is the one place that you should feel like you, and I think that's really important. So I hope that these tips and tricks, more than anything else, have just inspired you to think about your own personal style and what really makes you tick. And I'll leave links down below for my Pinterest and a few of the items that I shared with you today if you're interested. But really, I use Pinterest as such a tool. It's a teaching tool for me because I can really see what I'm drawn to, and I'm really able to see when things when they don't look the same, and why. Then I start comparing what am I doing differently, and how do I make sure that what I'm doing actually aligns with what I really want. So I hope that's been really helpful for you. And I am going to get back to work. I've got some big projects coming up this week and I need to get back to them. So cheers, you guys. Thank you again for stopping by, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.